I add piece of 새우젓 on top of it. When you eat it like that, perfect umami-rich flavor, that helps to balance it out. Hello everyone, welcome back to Jung's Table. Do you all know the city called Busan? It's the second largest city in Korea, and when we hear the word Busan, three foods instantly come into our minds. First is the milmyeon, then Dwaejigukbap, and third is the 어묵. Well, since we already dealt with milmyeon before, today I prepared Dwaejigukbap. It's a very warm, comforting dish. There are two main stories about how this Dwaejigukbap began, and the first one is when the refugees came down to Busan and they couldn't find beef, so they recreated 설렁탕 using pork, and that's how this began. Others say it came from sundaekguk, North Korean style pork blood sausage soup that later transformed into Dwaejigukbap as they brought it down south. But either way, both stories say carry the same root, which is war, poverty, and substitution. So why did it start in Busan? That's because Busan was the final refuge in Korean War, which means people from all across the country gathered in town. And with the US military station nearby, they could easily find pork bones and leftovers from the army base. And that's why markets and street stalls started serving this hot bowl with pork and rice, which were cheap, fulfilling, and very comforting. And in 2009, this Dwaejigukbap finally became the local heritage of Busan. Now, there are other regions that also serve Dwaejigukbap, and they're all a bit different in their taste. So first, the Busan version is the most clean and mild version, I would say. And then there's a region called Miryang, and theirs is more thicker and almost creamy. And finally, the Daegu style, they like to eat it like with hot and a lot of spices. And I think that is also infused in the Dwaejigukbap, and their version also has a lot of spices in it. So wherever you go, like you can order it based on your preference. Like you can only get the meat, you can get it without the innards, or you can even add sundae on some of the places. That all based on your preference. Now let's give it a try and not wait too long until before it gets cold. So first, you always want to start with just the plain soup and see how it tastes like. This one I would say, I mean from the color you can also see, but it's pretty thick and it's similar to 설렁탕. But I don't think it has too much seasoning in it, but that doesn't mean it's like a bland. And on the side, they gave me three things that I can add it up. The first is 새우젓, it's a fermented shrimp. It's very salty, by the way. And then this one is called 다대기. It's just a mixed sauce that you can put in to make it a little more rich and spicier. And the Daegu version, I think, uses a lot of this 다대기 sauce. And third is one of my must-haves. It's a perilla leaf powders. And this makes it more like, I don't know how to say, but more like almost nutty and savory. So I put a lot of it in. Now this is for the savory, but in terms of the saltiness, I usually like the shops where they give you like the mixed chives. That's best for the seasoning. Here, I think they just put regular chives in the soup. I can see in like over here, the green leaves. But because I don't want to stray too much away from the original, that's what I do. But some people like it better with this 다대기, and my option B, if they don't give me chives, is adding the 깍두기 soup. I feel like the 깍두기 soup goes pretty well with any other 국밥 you have, and it's a pretty safe option. Now when you keep at it, it just gets richer, and I feel like at first it was very similar to 설렁탕, but as I keep having it, it's like more fattier, I think, probably because of the pork. But it's not like that heavy as you might expect. Also because I've tried like a lot of restaurants that are like really like bone heavy broths, I want to say. And sometimes it's really heavy, like the tonkotsu ramen, even some Koreans can handle. When you see inside, they gave you a little glass noodle. I've never seen a sundaekgukbap or Dwaejigukbap place with the glass noodle, but I guess they like it here. Anyway, this is the pork, and the innards are like those little like bony meat inside, like these. So they do give like a bit of a rough texture, but I think it's good in terms of that texture-wise, and the taste, it doesn't taste like anything. It's just for the texture. What I like to do is just add a couple meat, and then I add a piece of 새우젓 on top of it. And when you eat it like that, it gives that like perfect umami-rich flavor, and you might get like a little too sick of it because it's like too creamy, and that helps to balance it out. And today I got the rice on side, but sometimes when you go to some 국밥 places, they might add it inside the soup and serve it to you all at once. And that's because There's a style called toryum, and toryum is a very classic technique where you pour the hot steaming broth on top of rice over and over again until the rice's temperature matches the soup, and the broth's flavor also blends smoothly inside the rice. But I'm like the type of person that usually eats like the soup only when I'm eating gukbap, so I don't really prefer that style. Some people like it that way because they do say this tastes less of a rice but more of the rich broth from the rice. And this time let's put the meat on top of the rice and finish it up with a bite of 깍두기. No, I'm not that much of a fast eater, but whenever I have Dwaejigukbap, it's so good, I usually finish it within 10 to 15 minutes. And I think that's why we say Dwaejigukbap symbolizes Busan for a reason. First, the taste, and second, there are a crazy amount of Dwaejigukbap restaurants in Busan. I think about 700. So just by the number alone, we also kind of get what it means to them. Now, Dwaejigukbap is so symbolic that it even shows up in a Korean film called Attorney. Now, in that movie, the attorney, I think, Songwoo something. Yeah, he always eats Dwaejigukbap for lunch, and in fact, I think his client is the son of that Dwaejigukbap restaurant. And I think what Dwaejigukbap meant, like the symbol of everyday working class people and the warmth it carries, as the attorney was trying to help out that poor child. And this time, I'll try to add some tteokbokki just to show you and try to describe how it tastes like. I don't really usually add tteokbokki, so I'm pretty nervous too, and I don't know how it's gonna go out. Now, you see after mixing it in how red it got? I would say this is definitely not my style. It's because I feel like it ruins that original flavor, and especially if you don't like spicy food, I don't think this will be it. And I feel like this is stronger than other restaurant sauce. It's making me wonder if this restaurant's owner is from that Daegu region. I mean, it's still good, but it's not what I'm expecting out of that Dwaejigukbap. If you ever plan to visit Busan, there are two restaurants I would highly recommend. First one is very close to the Busan station, so perfect for when you're traveling by train. It's called Bonjeon Dwaejigukbap, and that's very like clean and mild style. And they do have that mixed chives that I mentioned earlier, and I think it's perfect for first timers of Dwaejigukbap because it's not that strong in the broth wise. And the second one, it's a I think little franchise. It's called Omyongbek Dwaejigukbap. The one I went to was near Haeundae, and I thought it was like the nearest. And at that time, it was the most trendiest. Like it was more viral because I think some YouTubers were visiting there, so I also tried. And I think it's very good because they have both the mild and the heavy broth versions, so you can choose depending on your taste. And the flavor itself wasn't bad either. If you want to try like the old style, the mild and clean version, I recommend the Bonjeon. But if you're nearby Haeundae or find that Omyongbek very easy to go, I recommend that place too. Now, thank you for watching today as well. And if you like today's story, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and wait for the next video. Thank you. Goodbye.